Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my precious pack, and welcome back once more to VEGA Conflict, the game you all come around the channel for. I'm going to quickly go over the Mobilization prize list, but I'm not going to do a prize recommendations list because this is the same Mobilization from the beginning of the month with the only added prize being Victoria, and I'm going to complain a bit about the lack of certain prizes that are a necessity to advance further into the later tiers, as well as complain a bit about the targets. Now, a few moments ago for me, I released the other video about the cruisers, the recommended fleet type. And the point of that video is to simply show that not everything that they recommend is always best. Because if you read through the description, you will have quickly realized that what they recommend and what I would use for that fleet are entirely different things. But let's go ahead and let's hop right into this. What is the biggest problem with this prize store in my eyes? It's not the fact that the new fleet commander costs 15 million intel. No, nothing like that. It's not the fact that anything is missing. Well, anything that you wouldn't notice right away. There's actually two very important things missing from this shop. The first being shells, which are the Altarian shields. And there isn't a single shell in here. The other being the overdrive generators for the Sovereign Carrier. Again, they're another item that just isn't in the list. I do not know why they're not included, and I do believe that they should be included because they have weapons, mark upgrades, the additional blueprints, the armor. They have everything with the exception, including Zephyr thrusters. They have everything in here for everything. Well, actually, no, they're also missing palladium fuel. Okay, so they're missing two things. Well, a few things that I generally don't use, but I can always recommend for other players. All the time tokens, everything there in place. Okay. With that said, I would like to at least make the recommendation for Kickside to include these in future rerun events at the end of each month if they're going to more or less replay the same event that we had at the beginning of the month or the following week after the monthly event. At least make sure that if you include tech for a fleet that it's, well, not for a fleet, for a faction, that it is the entirety of the faction's technology. Because we have the vast majority of the technology here. As you can see, we're just missing a few things that are quite necessary to advance. Now, why exactly would the shells be necessary to advance? Well, you unlock level 1s and level 2s, and level 1 level 2 blueprints add certain fleet commanders. And you can use those fleets to farm top tier content with just a few lightly built Mark 1 or Mark 2 ships. And you can also get the mark upgrades through the store as well. You cannot get the main aspect of the Sovereign Carrier, which is its overdrive generators, from the store. So that is just a negative. I'm going to keep bringing it up because it's just a negative aspect. But for light fittings, you can get everything you need from here with the exception of the shells. You can, however, hop over into the coin store, and yes, I'm actually calling it that. You can hop over into the coin store, go into the Altarian tab, and you can buy shells there. I wouldn't advise it though, because every shell is a blueprint that you can get from somewhere in the game. You just have to wait for them to come up, which is the problem. Okay, now with all of that out of the way, the top prize, our new commander, Victoria Onin. Onin, however you want to pronounce her name, She's a very interesting fleet commander. Let's go ahead and let's just take a quick look at her. I already have her unlocked because that's no surprise. But it's the top level benefits that I find to be the most amusing. Before anybody asks why, just imagine a tier 0 Voyager Corvette fleet floating around. One group has 16 hit points, well, 15 hit points per ship. The other has just around 75,000 hit points. And they only have 1 minute 30 seconds for repair time. That's free repair time. You snap your finger and they're fixed. The amount of stupid fun you could have from a maxed out fleet commander specifically Victoria, would be amazing. You could take ships that you couldn't use to farm before, and you could farm with them. You could take your current farming fleets, and you can boost their health by a maximum of about 50%, especially on most of my cruisers, because most of them top out their health at around 25 to 30,000 hit points. So in some cases they're getting 50%, in some cases they're getting a little less than 50%, but it's still a boost that doesn't count towards repair time. And this is something I love about the fleet commanders. And yes, I am aware that it takes forever to grind them out. I've only ranked Victoria up to rank 26 as of right now. I've only had her for about 24 hours, but for anybody who wonders, I've been hitting miscreants whenever I can. And it's taken me 24 hours to get her up towards the rank she's at now. And remember, it only gets worse because the higher rank she is, the more XP it takes, and the less you get from every fleet. So it just becomes more and more tedious. But the health bonus, again, it will just be stupidly fun to have little ships that could be insignificant for the most part. And they have free repair time, but because of the lightweight, you never get to do anything major with them. Well, now you don't have to worry about health, so you can focus on fitting weapons, thrusters, and other things like that. On top of that, you get 10% alien resistance at her max rank. Before anybody asks when you start to get the alien resistance and stuff like that, level 20, you get 1%. To get the first part of the area of effect radius, starts at level 25. The missile weapon speed, it actually starts at level 10, I believe, was when it started, and it gives you a 50 bonus meters per second right off the bat. And it goes up by 10 every other 2 levels, with the exception of every 3rd level, kind of. Every now and then it skips it. Or it stays the same. Health goes up constantly because that's the primary aspect, and that's the aspect that I want the most. The other thing is, if you use all Umber faction ships, you gain increased blight damage of 10%. So a nice little bonus there as well, to any of you that are just using nothing but blight weapons on your ships. Okay, with all of that said, there's not much else to talk about because the mobilization is a rerun, as it's stated. And there isn't much else to talk about other than the fleet commander and the possibilities of the super Corvettes floating around in the sector with, 12,000 hit points, just doing whatever they want. There's one more thing. I want to thank each and every single one of you for every view, comment, like, dislike on the videos. Before you ask why, I just want you to know that whenever I see the views, I just see a static number, and it isn't until I get comments, dislikes, or likes that I start to see people. And the reason I say that is because each and every single one of you that comments, you're proving that you're an entity and not some static number that I just get to view whenever I want. You're standing out above everything else, you're standing above the rest of the static numbers, and you're showing that you're a person like me. And the interaction is one of the things that I want the most in the Discord and everything like that. And with that said, the objective of Corvette Day, it was just to be for fun. It wasn't meant for stress or anything like that, it was just meant for fun. It was meant to get all the top tier players to step down to where everyone was on slightly more equal footing. Everyone would more or less be allowed to use the exact same ships with the exact same fittings, and there would be no insane range bonuses, no insane damage bonuses. The only advantages players would have is fleet commanders. That's it. And the repair time of most Voyager Corvettes is so low that you don't even have to worry about it. And they're so cheap to repair that for a base like mine, if I fully stock my resources, I could farm and play with nothing but Corvettes for the better portion of years, constantly. And Corvette Day, I just thought would be a fun idea for everybody to just go ahead and step back down to a repair time excluded, fun tier mostly. And the reason I chose Corvettes and not choosing tier 1 with all the other free repair time ships was because Corvettes are the simplest thing to use in the game, and anybody can use them very easily. They have the lowest skill requirement out of every other ship in the game because they have the full 360-degree firing arc. So next time I ask if anybody wants to partake in a Corvette day, that's what a Corvette day is. It's just meant for fun. It's meant for everyone to take a step back from high-level PvP that takes days to repair afterwards, that no one really wants to do other than for primary events or for bullies and things like that, or for just people goofing off, which does happen at times. But this would be a little bit more entertaining because you could goof off for hours on end and then go right back to whatever you were doing shortly after. And the fleets, they don't weigh anything, so you don't have to worry about weight requirements or anything like that either. But again, thank you all. Thanks for tuning into this video, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, but Fleet Commander Victoria Onin, however you want to say it, she is going to be a monumental part of the game going forwards. And I don't mean story-wise, I just mean gameplay-wise. She's going to be able to change most of our repair ratios for those of us that can max her out. Even for me, it's going to take a very long time. But it's going to be entertaining and pleasant to see the changes occur. And I'm positive that they're most likely going to add better commanders than these in the future, that we're going to see 100,000 hit points and things like that for bonuses on the commanders, but it's just a matter of waiting for them. Because eventually we'll have ships that have over 100,000 hit points, it's just a matter of waiting that long. Well, I can't quite say that because my behemoth has over 100,000 hit points, and at max it'll have over 200,000 hit points, so excluding the behemoth from that, I mean standard ships, cruisers, destroyers, battleships, things like that. But that's going to be it, everybody. What do you guys think of the event's prize store? Is it lacking for any of you? Do you just see that you need the shells and things like that and they're just not available? Because if it was a catch-up rerun event, or whatever they want to call it, it should have at least included one type of shell so that there was some type of defense being offered for the ships. But, once again, that's going to be it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have anything to add to what I've said, go ahead and say so below in the comment section. If you have any questions about any of my fleet setups or anything like that, go ahead and ask below in the comment section. If you just want to say hi, again, say so below in the comment section. If you have any ideas or any concept ideas that you would like to work out, go ahead and join the Discord. The link will be in the description. And go ahead and message me or just add it to the general den chat and see what happens. But I hope that you can all stay warm and safe out there in the void. And as always, everybody, I'll see you later.